delineate watershed in HEC HMS. So if you are interested, you can follow along, and by the end I hope you will be able to create your own watershed. To delineate watershed in this model, we need to follow all these steps. First we create terrain from the digital elevation model, then we create the basin, and once we created the basin, we can assign this particular terrain which we generated to this basin. Then we pre-process things which fill all the depression in the dim. After that, we need to pre-process drainage, and here all the flow direction and flow accumulation will be generated from the dim. Then we need to identify streams. Here we will give a threshold, the area threshold, which will streams will be generated after how much area that we are giving to this threshold. Then we need to insert breakpoints, which we can create and insert breakpoints at any point of the dim, and then the watershed will be delineated at that point. We need to then assign we need to delineate element which will create all the subbasins and reaches. Then we need to, if we want, we can merge or split the elements like reaches or subbasins. Here this is the HMS interface. I will be creating a new project and name it as backyard city. I will save it in this particular directory that I will save it here. You can change the unit system for the project. You can take it as US customary or metric. So we now created the project. We go to this component tab, and from here we can create terrain from this terrain data manager. Now you can create a new terrain and name it as you want. So we'll leave it as default. Next step is to link this terrain to the location where the dim is located. So my dim is located in this particular folder. Terrain. Now the unit systems are in meters, the units of the this dim. So finish. Now this terrain has been generated. Next step is to create the basin. So from the components we go to the basin model manager, and here we create a new basin. You can name it as basin 1 or whatever you want, then give a description and then create new. Now we created our basin and terrain. We can assign our generated terrain to this basin from here. So terrain 1 which we generated, now we assign to our basin. Here we since the dim has already has its own coordinate system, we will escape this. Otherwise we can go to this GIS parameter, and here from here also we can assign the coordinate system for our terrain or dim. So for now, since our dim has its own coordinate system, we will skip this. Now you can see this has appeared here. Now the next step is under this GIS tab we go to pre-processing, which fill all the depressions in the dim. Now it takes some time. Now and then after this step we need to pre-process drainage, which will generate this flow direction and flow accumulations. Now you can see it's flow accumulation. And so the next step is to identify streams. Here we can give the area threshold to generate streams. If we give a smaller area, then we can generate more streams, and later on we can create like large number of subbasins. However, if we give a smaller or a larger threshold, then we have a smaller number of streams, and later on we cannot create so many sub-basins as well. So for now I will give it as or for example I will give it 2 kilometer as stream flow threshold. Now you can see this is the streams which are identified. Now I need to create the breakpoints or define the outlets where I want to generate watershed. So and from here click on this, you can create breakpoints or outlets at anywhere that you want. So I want, for example, in this particular point to create my watershed. You should carefully place these breakpoints. If you are placing it not on this particular streams, then Moodle will give error. So you should place these breakpoints on top of these identified streams. So you can name this as outlet 1, for example. You can give description also. So create it. Now we created this outlet. Like this, if you are interested to break, this is, let's say this is your whole watershed. Then you also want some watershed at this point also, and at this another point here also. Then it will generate the watershed at these particular points as well. Now if we go to the next step, delineate element, here we can give the sub-basin prefix. Let's say I will name all my sub-basins to start from S, like S1, S2, S3, like that. Then reaches prefix I can give like R, R1, R2, R3, all the reaches which will be created. Here you can specify whether to create the junction at the point of intersection of reach to sub-basins or not. So if you want, you can create as yes. Prefix for junction, I would like to name it as junction J1, J2, like that. If you want to convert these breakpoints to junction also you can create, but we don't want that, so delineate element now. Now you can see this watershed which is generated for these particular outlets that we assigned. As I have said previously also, now you can see the number of sub-basins which are created, and at this particular points we define we give breakpoints. However, it has not generated the stream flow due to some here this point it has generated, but this point I think this one is might have misplaced. So if we change the location of this, let's see what will happen. Yeah, this might this is not considered, I think. Now if we delineate watershed again, I think this will be right. Now you can see there is no watershed at this point. So once we delineate, we hope that watershed will be created at this point. So I will again name this as SYS or yes. Then junction, delineate. Now you can see that it is generated. So as we have said, you should carefully place these breakpoints on top of the stream, otherwise the Moodle will not generate watershed at that point. You can see these are the breakpoints we define, and these are the watersheds are also delineated at these points. Now if you're like if you want this let's say you want the least number of sub-basins and reaches, you can manipulate this from here again if we come to this identify streams. So I will continue. If I give here a threshold of 5, you will see list number of subbasins. So I will again process all this delineate element also again. S or junctions, yes. So delineate, continue. Now you can see this has a smaller number of subbasins as we give bigger threshold. Like this you can manipulate your own whatever you want. So now if you want to like export, or if you want to merge, let's say if you are interested to merge this subbasin with this another subbasin, you can select it like this, and under component, under GIS, you can see you cannot merge right now because this we should select carefully when the when the subbasins are not matching with one another in kind of the elevation, and then they will not be they will not merge either. If we want to merge these two, I think it should be possible. So I will select this one also. Now we come to GIS. You can see we now can merge these two elements. So you can like this, if I merge, it will merge these two subbasins. Like this we can manage this, and it is if we, in case that we want to export any of these layers, let's say reaches or this identified streams or this subbasins, we can export them from this GIS and export layers. Here you can identify which reach is junction, or identify stream which one you want to export. Then you can export it into a shapefile and can use it for other purposes. So if you want to like visually just turn on or off some of these layers, you can manipulate from here. Like you want this terrain to feel sync, all this to be turned off. Like this you can identify which layers that you want to show here. So like I don't want this icons I want. So discretization, identify the streams I don't want. Yeah, now you can see it's looking better. This is like our 3 sub watersheds, and these 2 bigger, and then at the final outlet we can see our watershed. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, just support, like it, and